Hello and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 3 and Black Ice as Germany. And where we left off, we'd set up kind of everything. We'd got the first stage of our production queue up and running, made all the decisions, and I was wittering on about my personal life. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to lower neutrality in Japan and Italy. And the hope will be, with any luck, we might even be able to get Italy in pretty quickly if we're careful about it, but we'll see. We will definitely see on that front. But yeah, all is going well. We're nearly at 53 spies, so when we hit 50, I think we'll start working on Austria and Czechoslovakia to start getting them ready for possible bringing into our faction, which would be very cool. Very cool. Yeah, happy days. But yes, I am going to be on holiday for a couple of weeks, and it is needed, to be honest. I've had an extremely kind of busy period of time, and I am looking forward to taking a bit of a break. So I'm going to visit my girlfriend's family in Iceland. Got a couple of nights in Reykjavik. The volcano is going off at the moment, I think. That's been highly active in the area, but my girlfriend assures me that it's nothing to worry about and I will not be struggling with that. I don't particularly enjoy flying all that much. I understand the science and it's a completely illogical fear, but it's just not my favourite thing. I force myself to get on planes. But hey, it is what it is. And there we go, the 20% has left the building. So, we can do the full production queue now, which is pretty good. There's a couple of planes that are due out kind of end of April, early May. We've got another light bomber due out as well, so that'll be good. And we should see slightly less in the way of that minus 20% happening in this campaign, because in Germany campaigns normally it happens a lot. And yes, we will do that trade with you, although we're still getting these Vela creations. So if I do this, I only lose 500 supplies. Let's get the HQ only. Yeah, that's fine with me. And what am I drinking? I have some Glenmorangie going, so that's good. Oh, and a dance show. So we've got the first stage of our economic focus as well, which is bloody good. So we get money, supplies, and IC, and a dance show. Sure. We're lacking a little bit. Canada will trade with us though, so we will do that. And still enough to keep positive on supplies. You know what? This is a good position to be in. We like it. Right, we're at 52. So let's see what we want to do. Neighbours. So, Czechoslovakia, Austria. Both of you, we want to support our party in your nation states. So, for you, it is the Sudeten Deutsch Party, so the Sudeten German Party. And in Austria, it's just the NSA DAP. I'm not going to say the name, because if I say the name, my videos will be immediately demonetized. So, and I'm not going to do this. Yeah, it's not worthwhile. If there was a way pre-war, like in that event, to where you had a chance of actually claiming that land back, like you launched it as like a diplomatic incident, and you know, like as part of the appeasement stuff, Britain gives up some of the bits of Africa as kind of a goodwill gesture. That could be quite fun, and that would be what I would want kind of the mod developers to do with that event. I think that could be quite good. I can see that we've already got another chance to lower the neutrality in Italy. We're at 46.89. So, expand our heavy industry, and we got it in Frankfurt and Man, which is good. That is a good spot to get it in. And we have a little bit of free production. So, let us... Yeah, we can kick that into gear. That's good. Take that. Got some submarines that'll be finishing up soon as well. Another light bomber. Always take that. And then, yeah, we'll always do that kind of money trade. Now, we're only making 15 a day now, so we do need to be a little bit careful on that. But I still don't want to sell metal. Still don't want to do that. Heavy IC effect. Thank you very much. Off-map IC. Always take it. So, yeah, we probably want to prioritize building up IC in the kind of heavy IC zones. Germany loses 5 threat on all, so we gain back 6 manpower, 200 money, and we gain a little bit of stuff for that. So, alpine skiing made its first appearance at the Winter Olympics with German athletes Franz Pfaffner, it's not a great name, winning men's alpine, and Crystal Kranz winning the women's alpine events. Do you think Crystal, she enjoyed herself? Another 6 manpower, thank you. So, yep, Sweden, we'll happily do that trade with you. Italy, I want to do that trade with you, but I'm not going to because it's not what I want to be doing. Okay, so we're making 58 rares a day from our home province, and that is not enough to turn a positive on rares. So that's a shame. Okay, so heavy machine gun focus, controller propeller pitch. So I'm happy with that. We're going to do single engine airframe. Get a little bit more into officers. I'm actually a little bit lower than I want to be on the espionage. It won't pay for much, but it's something. And then there's a few additional techs there that would be great to get. In a good spot in April. Closing in on 50,000 supply, which is also lovely. And still running a positive. So, twin engine Bombay. 38 level, that's good. Let's get air launch torpedoes going. We do want to have... I'm going to use a fair amount of tactical, like, kind of naval bombers and things, I think, in this part of the world. I would love to sink the British Navy in port. That would be magical. Yep, I'm actually happy to do that, Portugal. That sounds like a good trade. So, we can't actually do that one, which is kind of interesting. Could get the 4-engine layout on the planes there done. And then start working on some of the 37 level ones there. We got any armor techs or anything? Nope. Nothing on that front yet. No, thank you. So yes, another interesting news. I found it very interesting that Donald Trump won the election. Some of you might have seen that I dialed on to... So Gamer1745, bless him, was running a bit of a live stream that evening of kind of the results and things, and giving some reaction and stuff. I was up very early that day. I think I got up about 4:30 to kind of watch the US election result. So just in general, I'm an election enthusiast. I quite like watching election results in general. It wasn't specifically the kind of American one that drew me in, but I find it an interesting kind of like in general to see what trends look like and things. I like the data aspect of it because I generally work in data analysis as part of my job more regularly, and you don't get many more kind of larger and interesting data sets than kind of an election, really. So yeah, very very interesting. But what I did think was really interesting actually that I kind of raised on this is, so for those of you on the channel, you probably know that I'm a fairly left-leaning kind of individual when it comes to my viewpoints on kind of a lot of different topics. you know, and I don't generally talk about my own, like, in politics very much in general, because I don't personally think it's a good thing to discuss kind of more broadly on YouTube. It's liable to get a bunch of people getting pissy and angry, but I'm very much a firm believer that part of the problem that the left wing of politics, which I consider myself there, is I think we are very patronizing to people, which doesn't help, to be honest. And I did listen to an interesting Navarro Media kind of like podcast thing the other day where they were kind of discussing as the left lost touch with the average working person. And I think, to be honest with you, the answer to that question is yes. I do think there's a lot of that, and I think the fact that, to be honest with you, I do come from, you know, I've been lucky enough to kind of get myself a decent job that pays fairly well. It's much easier to be left-leaning and be favourable towards, like, taxation if you're making a pretty decent, hunky kind of chunk of profit yourself. So, yeah, I do think there is a little bit of kind of needing to be aware of one's own kind of situation. But I do think that if you kind of census people on kind of left-wing, and I'm talking economic policy here, predominantly, first of all, I think if you ask people predominantly, and of course, where I'm European, I have a slightly different, like, kind of spin on this, and you can probably tell a lot from my political persuasion being a British person, where I consider myself European, because that we won't open up the Brexit can of worms and the bullshit that we've all been subjected to as a result of that. But, you know, one of the things I was trying to get across on Gamer's live stream to some of his American people and viewers is that I'm British and I work in finance. I am not a, like, communist, right? I believe there are certain things that the state is better at running, and things like a national health service and, like, kind of transport, postal service, utilities like water, you know, kind of the basic human needs, really. I'm a pretty firm believer that that's something that should, you know, education, that's something that should be kind of handled by the state. So a good example is trains. Trains were privatised in the UK I believe it was the 80s. It's one of the great failings of successive Labour governments that trains haven't been renationalised, because they're inherent monopolies and they cause a lot of problems. Now, what I would say is the trains in general do need a little bit of modernisation, and that hasn't happened. But I do think there is a higher likelihood of it happening under a non-privatised system than under a privatised system that the UK currently uses. It's terrible. As someone that gets on the trains a lot, I'm fairly lucky that my train travel's quite easy and not too bad. I go to London every now and then. London's probably the easiest place to get to, even though it's a horrific, busy nightmare, but it's got a really good transport system in general. There are lots of parts of the UK, and I'm not going to give away exactly where I live, but there are other parts of the UK that are not easy to kind of do that travel with. You know, and it's frustrating. It should be a lot better than it kind of is. On the flip side, you know, I don't believe the government should be getting involved with kind of what's a good example that I can give? You know, there should be a certain amount of regulation, right, to stop the idea of monopolies and things. But generally, I believe in a free market environment where, you know, stronger companies that perform better services, offer better products, will rise to the top, and kind of, you know, dominate the market through a better service. That's, you know, that is inherently a good idea and a good thing. So yeah, like, I find it very frustrating, to be honest with you, when I engage with especially, this is especially true of Americans. Everything that you consider slightly left, you call communism, and I don't get it. It's not communism. It's so frustrating, like, to talk to people and then have them say it's communist. No, it's not communism. Europe is not a communist kind of continent. Like, there's a lot of, you know, you look at the likes of Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Finland, you know, the Dutch, even the British to a certain degree. You know, Iceland, Ireland. We are not communist states, like, with the way that we function and what we provide generally to kind of citizens from a standpoint of like day to day. One of the local things in the UK that's really good at the moment is like buses are subsidised, right? And one of the things I've had a frustration with the Labour government actually on is they've raised that bus subsidy. They've lowered that subsidy amount, and it means that I think the minimum fare will be going up to like £3 from £2. Now, for me, that doesn't make a difference. Like, it doesn't make an impact on me, and I'm fairly happy with paying a little bit extra. But a lot of people that go to and from work, you can imagine if you're getting the bus each day. Let's say you do a single fare each day both ways. That's an extra, it's an extra 3% increase on your expenses there. Assuming you're paying £4, you're now paying £6. That's not great. That's a big frustration. And another thing in the stream that I talked about was the fact that the Labour government managed to achieve an astonishingly good majority in the UK, but it's a byproduct of first past the post and a hatred. And I will use that word, an absolute outpouring of hatred towards the Conservative Party. The Conservative Party was, already kind of in a fair amount of trouble kind of going into the election. But my God, it was brought tenfold. It really was. During the, there were so many problems with that government under Boris Johnson, and it got worse and worse and worse. And, the Conservatives, unfortunately for them, reaped the benefits of that unpopularity. So we're going to build some rare mines. So I'm just going to build at the moment in Berlin. So it's Berlin, Dresden, Dortmund, and Neustadt. So Neustadt, yep, Dresden, and Dortmund. Lots of upside potential there. Okay, so that's good. Love that. And hopefully we'll have a full production queue on the resources and things soon. But yeah, it is surprising that the rest of the world, especially Western Europe, America, a lot of different places are going to the right, and you're seeing that in generally people of my age. I'm under 30. Again, not to give too much away, I probably ride the line between what would be considered Gen Z and like millennial, right? And I see a lot of things online. I listen to a lot of like politics related things, and there is a failing. Like the current kind of market dynamics, especially in developed countries, are not helping young people to succeed. And I personally believe in a kind of social justice agenda. I do think that there are groups of people that we do need to uplift and represent in the correct way. But what I would also say, as a cis, white, heterosexual male, I don't think that should be at the expense of other people. And I do think there are dangers inherent with kind of uplifting some groups and kind of forgetting that there are a bunch of people that are disenfranchised. One of the people that are most likely to kind of be in depression, commit suicide, to fall into that like NEET category are like young white males under the age of 30. And the kind of development of the internet and things is happening and social media at such a pace that there are large tractions of people that just don't have the ability to like reach out and kind of have human contact in the right way. I personally don't like communicating online. I don't have any real social media apart from my YouTube channel. I don't generally like talk to my friends on the online space. Most of my friends are like face to face. But if I was growing up now and I was a bit younger, I've always been quite lucky in that I'm quite an outgoing individual. But if I was a little bit more introverted and I struggled kind of like with talking to women and like things like that, I'm not sure what I would kind of do. you know, in the modern environment. I mean, I did the dating apps and things for a while, and it was not an enjoyable experience. You know, I think I watched or listened to a really interesting thing the other day about like psychology to do with like people, because I was trying to work out why Trump had kind of won so substantially, and because I don't get the appeal of him personally. But it's very interesting to look at his advertising and his kind of PR campaign, where he really targeted younger male voters, compared to the Democrats who didn't do that at all. You know, based on kind of some things I've heard about and listened to. I mean, there's screen grabs of their website where the Democratic Party are listing all these people that they work for, and like there are, you know, a couple of different groups on there, but like white men of a certain age who aren't one of those listed people that they work for. Now, if I was a clever Democratic kind of person, and I was thinking about how I would align and kind of reach out to people, I probably would have tailored my website and my advert a little bit to be like, we work for everyone, but we also have, you know, we pay specific priority to disabled people and LGBTQA plus, whatever it is now, the acronym. I lose track of how many things are on it, but you know, we pay attention to these people with priority, but we want to make sure that we fight for everyone. You know, it would have maybe been a better message, to be honest with you. And I don't think that's rocket science. Like, I don't think, you know, that's a particularly controversial thing to be saying. I'm just surprised that no one with kind of a little bit of PR knowledge thought to themselves, this might not be the best look. Anyway, so Leipzig, Dortmund and Saarbrücken. So Saarbrücken will build up the steel refinery here. Lovely jubbly. And then Dortmund, which is always a massive industrial kind of unit. Love that picture for Dortmund, by the way. Really cool. And then Leipzig. Yes, perfect. Brilliant. And then if we want to, we could look at the coal fields. So we've got Leipzig, Saarbrücken and Dortmund again on that one. And then we could, well, have we got any? Oh yeah, Hanover with 6 oil. So want to probably build a little oil field there. But I do honestly find it a little bit surprising that no one thought to themselves that, you know, by doing this, are we like kind of excluding a large demographic of voters? So I can understand why, you know, if you were a rural American voter and you've had the status quo for a few years, you've not felt any improvement in the economy. You know, you've seen inflation kind of, you know, skyrocket. It's not really come down much. It's all well and good a bunch of finance bods and economists saying, well, actually the underlying, you know, growth and GDP data is really good and the economy is growing at a great rate. And I'm sure for a lot of people, you know, for someone like, I don't know, even me, you know, I probably see the benefits of that, you know, in things like property value and stuff like that. But there's a grand amount of people that are not as fortunate as that, who aren't seeing any benefits. So along comes Trump, who actively is kind of courting the disenfranchised and saying, it's this, it's the, you know, it's the other that's you know, the reason for this. Now I would argue that, you know, this is where my slightly more left-leaning function comes in. I don't necessarily see it as kind of immigration as being the key problem. I see it as large companies, the likes of Elon Musk and the rest of, you know, the kind of these brigades that want to keep down worker rights and things as being the kind of problem for that. But and I would have targeted on that message. I guess the problem with the Democrat Party is that they're funded by a bunch of kind of big business corporate elites. And unfortunately, the Labour Party in the UK has kind of gone in that direction after Jeremy Corbyn. Jeremy Corbyn's Labour Party wasn't so much funded by big business and kind of and big interests of that kind of nature. But now Keir Starmer's best friends with all of them. You know, I would consider myself kind of politically homeless at the moment. I voted for Labour. Because I personally couldn't stand the Conservatives. I don't like reform at all. I don't think, like, anyone who thinks Nigel Farage is the solution to the problems this country faces, I'm sorry, but I don't know what planet you live on. you know, the Liberal Democrats are well-meaning and they did very well, but I mean, again, they're just kind of, they're like wet paper. And the Green Party is, you know, it's growing in momentum in the UK, but as long as first past the post holds sway here, it's a bit like America with the electoral college system, actually. Very similar, actually, in many respects, to be honest with you, with the fact that we claim to have a really strong and unique democratic, you know, old democracies, but you're only realistically picking between two flavors of centrist party, which, you know, that's why people feel frustrated with the system and things, and why Donald Trump has been able to grow, you know, to be such a political force, really. And he is that. You know, I might not like it, and I don't, you know, see the personal appeal of him, but I can't deny that politically he's very astute. You know, he's obviously got a bit of a knack for it, you know, and yeah, it doesn't appeal to me. And the only thing I would say in all of this, right, is, you know, good luck to him. I really honestly hope I'm wrong. I hope that his political policies are better than I give them credit for. But personally, I don't think what he's laid out around tariffs and things will have a positive impact on the American or the global economy. I think both of them will suffer from his economic policies. But if I'm wrong, I will happily admit that I'm wrong, and things. But it really has been there we go. Right, so let's do low neutrality. And I can see we're up to 59 again now. So who else do we want to go for? So politically, we are growing, but spies are not kind of helping us too much. Popularity-wise, we're doing pretty well. Yeah. Okay, what do we want to do next? So with our spies, is there anyone that we kind of want to go for? You know, like the Soviet Union, for example. Do we want to go after them, or Turkey, to be honest with you? So for Turkey, yeah, their ruling party is someone that we like, so let's support them. In fact, we don't even need to support them, do we? Let's do covert operations and start working on them as well. And then are we all naturally drifting in our direction? So you're drifting towards the common term of value of minus 0.18. So you're not drifting towards anyone, really. Yeah, we're doing a lot of research at the moment. How's the Italians looking? So they got a neutrality of 43 now, so they're kind of getting there. Got some railroads and high density alloys, which means we can do basic anti-tank ammunition and get that out of the way. That's good, because we want to get the arm-piercing capped and like medium velocity guns and things going. But yeah, I honestly do hope that he brings some sort of positivity. Any like Islamic Muslim voters, you know, I saw some people coming out in favor of Trump. If you have a problem with Israel and kind of what's happening over there with Palestine and things, and you voted for Trump, well, I don't know what to say to you, because he's not gonna be pro-Palestine, and you know, the only hope you can have is that he might be strong enough to get a peace deal that favors Potsdam. That's not as good. That raises that to level 1. That's a bit rubbish. I'm not as much of a fan of that. Right, another coastal sub. Good. But yeah, if you're hoping that he's gonna, you know, the only thing will be that maybe the one positive might be that he might stop some of the war stuff. But you know, like, it would be probably very unfavorable if he did that for both Palestine and also for Ukraine. You know, although what I would say is the UK government and the Biden administration's thing of letting them, drop, fire missiles into Russia, is an escalation I'm not a massive fan of. Look, the Russian state should not be invading Ukraine. Like, that's disgusting. It's a crime against international law and the like. But equally, let's face it, they're a bit unhinged. Like, Putin is not 100% with it, and the concern is that it's not a good. It's a bit worrying, let's put it that way. So, Viva is killed. So, the Eurobomber program, now normally I would focus on tactical and dive bombers. And we'll gain 150 if we were to do that, which would definitely put some of these forwards. However, I do somewhat want to be able to at least build some strategic level bombers, because I want to be able to reduce some of the more difficult to crack cities to smouldering ruins in the Soviet Union. And to do that, I'm going to need a strategic bomber force. Okay, nearly doing a full production queue. Very close. A couple more submarines due to finish up. We'll have the Hipper done this side of 37, which is good. And we've still got 50 spies. Is there anything else we want to be doing with them? Probably yes. Because we always want to be doing stuff with spies if we can. Who's another good grab? I mean, Sweden... The thing is, Sweden's neutrality is always such a sticking point. Yeah, it's always such a sticking point. We could try and build up the kind of threat from the Soviet Union and start like making it more difficult for people to join them. So let's start building up the threat against them. Okay, basic education advancement, lovely. And that'll mean we can do advanced education. That's always good. And we're doing a little bit extra on supplies. 61,000 is pretty good. That's good going. And no more metal, please. I want to build up our metal stocks. Nearly at 20 grand, or 20k, sorry. That's pretty good. But yeah, I'm about as far away from kind of conservatism in some respects as you can probably get. But yeah, I do think there is a failing of like the left to fully grasp what the average person cares about, and I do think there is a little bit of a too much of a push towards like identity politics. Now, one thing the Labour Party in the UK did really well is they didn't get dragged into that debate. The Conservatives were wanting to have that debate and drag them into it, but Keir Starmer was pretty good at being like. I mean, he's very good at being sitting on the wall and saying nothing while saying a lot of words anyway. He was very good at it in relation to that kind of stuff. Whereas, that's just not the case. Now, what I would say is we do benefit as well in this country. And I'm saying benefit, not so much in a negativity towards what I'm about to say. But we do benefit in this country a little bit from the fact that we are a very sectarian society. Probably one of the most sectarian societies in the world when it comes to religion. It's just not for kind of... not so much. In America, the abortion thing is such a difficult issue to kind of grapple with because of the fact it is so religious. Like, it's just a massively religious kind of country, and as a result of that, it massively dominates the kind of proceedings. So, look, I'm of the opinion women should be able to do what the hell they want with their body. And I don't think it should be down to the state, to kind of decide that. So I'm pretty pro, like, the fact everyone should have access to what can sometimes be like life-saving, medical care. But the thing is, it's such a it's got religious connotations to it as an issue. It's very difficult to just campaign on it like the Democrats were doing. and not doing a particularly good job of campaigning on economic policy. I really do wonder what things would have been like if Bernie Sanders had won a few years ago, because I think he was probably the right candidate, really. And honestly, that Hillary Clinton election is one of the most ridiculous ever. I'm not a fan of Hillary Clinton. They should have tried to let Bernie, or even, to be honest with you, even Biden would have been a better person to put forward back in 2016. He could have actually, I think he would have beaten Donald Trump, to be completely honest with you, in 2016 if he'd stood then. It is very strange that they kind of decided to go with what they went with in relation to kind of, who they nominated. Like, it just stinks of poor political thinking. Alright, anyway. And then, yeah, you got a similar thing with poor old Kamala Harris. Now, to be fair, I don't know much about her. I don't know much about kind of her political history and things, but I get the impression that she wasn't particularly popular. She seemed like quite a nice, like, well-meaning person, just from some of the stuff I've seen online and some of the interviews that she's given. But yeah, when you have to deal with Donald Trump, who is a bit of a firebrand, it's not great. Did the Joe Rogan interview win him the election? That's the question. I don't personally like Joe Rogan particularly. He's not my type of content creator. But by not going on the podcast and not just doing an unfiltered podcast, that says a lot. It probably should have done. Probably should have joined the podcast and done it. The fact they didn't was, very telling, to be honest. A real problem in this age where everything is just online at all times. Anyway, thank you for attending my TED Talk. And to be fair, my point earlier is just one last thing. I generally think in order to persuade someone, you need to kind of meet them where they're at. So if someone is at a place where they have different beliefs to you, you can't just scold them and just be like, "Oh, you're wrong." Like, you need to kind of not so much, I would say, like, explain something to someone, but just give a different point of view, give a different, like, way of looking at things, and you'll have much more chance of converting someone, to your kind of frame of thought than not. And at the end of the day, that's all it's about, is, to kind of win these things. Like, I notice a lot of people saying we don't want someone's support anyway. Like, that's not the point. In order to progress change of things, you need a broad church of different people that agree with you at the end of the day. It's all well and good having these beliefs and things, but if you can't get anyone to, like, support you, then you might as well give up. Like, and you can't just say, well, we don't want their support because they've said this in the past. Everyone can change, right, their political point of view and stuff. And nothing is set in, like, stone. Right, so we're going to build this up here. Saarbrücken. There's, like, no count of different things in history. Like, there's an obscene number of situations where people have been opposed and then they've, like, reached an agreement. It is a natural part of kind of the human condition, to where sometimes you believe things and you need to be challenged on those beliefs before you can stop believing them. And it's extremely frustrating that people aren't willing to discuss things anymore with each other. They're not willing to meet in the middle and, try and persuade one another. Everything is extremely tribal. And that's the worst place that something could be in, really, more logically. Right, so let's do this. Yeah, get some of the destroyer techs going, no harm in that. And no, don't want to do the rares trade. Rares have been ticking up quite nicely for a while now, so that's good. Yeah, we've got a good set of different things going on. And just gained a little bit of leadership. Now the question is, we should be getting the Monumental Architecture event soon, and we've got more than enough supply, more than enough money to do that. No. Seaport capabilities. Yeah, we'll let that go. It's going to get us a little bit more resource. And yeah, I don't want to do that. Stop trying to get me to buy things. To sell you metal. It ain't going to happen. But yeah, I'm cooking. So I'm cooking some meatballs tonight. I'm still trying my best not to eat meat as much, but I do allow myself every now and then to do a little bit of meat. But I'm cooking some meatballs, doing my own red sauce. I make my own sauce to go with it. So that'll be fun. And I've bought a nice bottle of whiskey for my girlfriend's family when I see them. It's a Japanese one. It's a Hakushu, I believe, which sounds quite nice. It's got a lovely like mossy green like bottle label, so that's quite good. Sorry, this is my my joys of looking at whiskey bottles, staring at me from the corner like, drink me. No, stop it. But yeah, all well and good. Right, how's our HQ and things looking? We've got Von Fritsch. Oh, he's an old guard. Didn't even know that. Probably not actually the guy that we want to be leading up the army, to be fair. Probably we want a bunch of logistics. So yeah, you're very good at that. Yeah, a bunch of logistics commanders would be good. And aha, the Bismarck. So 1,500 metal. Lovely jubbly. And we'll put that top of the production queue. And I'm expecting the monumental architecture buildings to kind of be offered up to me in a moment. There they are, as if like clockwork. So we're going to go for the university. Always worthwhile getting this and maximizing its potential first. Only reducing by -2 a day on the descent though, which is a bit of a shame. So, and we got a research center at the same time, that's good. And the massive education enhancement and truck and primer maneuverability. So, is there anything that we can get? Like armored car design. Yeah, let's do that. Don't want armor plate thickness. We're doing all the plane techs. All the bomb load techs, all the air systems. Yep. Doing all the submarine techs that we want to be doing. We've got a couple of escort level things that we could look to improve. Gives us a little bit more on the officer ratio. And let's reduce that neutrality level over here. Nope, we can't, but can we do it in Turkey? We can indeed. Good. And how about you, Japan? You must be freed up by now. Good. How is that neutrality looking? Oh, it's looking good. Yeah, we need to wait for that descent to naturally ease down. I don't really want to put any production into it because we'll lose like a couple of days, but hey, it is what it is. Could do a bit of broadcasting. Let's do the news and politics. Because it should help with our popularity a fair amount. A bit annoyed by the Conservative Party improving in the way that they are. But that's okay. And then should be getting some research efficiency, which is also good. Don't want to do that trade Turkey for metal. Need all the metal we can get our hands on. And yeah, our sales are still doing very well. And we're still fairly together on our money situation, as well as our supply situation. That is the main thing. And it won't be long until we've got a 100% officer ratio, which is also good. Considering the things that we've built and things in the time frame. Anyway, I'm sorry for my political rant in this episode. I just felt like I needed to kind of get off my chest some of my thoughts on this, because it's yeah, it's very difficult seeing kind of the, you know, generally the political views that I agree with being kind of slowly but surely dismantled by a bunch of like right-leaning kind of people, and that's fine, but it's a shame that things are not kind of, you know, shifting in the way I'd expect them to. But equally, you know, it's understandable really, given some of the trends out there in the world at the moment. Right, so yeah, got the surviving militia. We'll put them in Hanover and attach them up, and let's make this a mountain infantry really early on. No harm in that. Okay, and yeah, we've got some submarines that will be finishing up pretty soon, as well as the vast majority of our destroyers. And yeah, the Italians don't want to trade anymore. Low neutrality there, yeah. No, you don't have the points. But Japan will have the points. Hey, there you go. See, what did I say? I told you they would. So yeah, they're a little bit distant from us at the moment, but we can pivot things a little bit later. How is, thinking about it, so yeah, threats increasing, but how's Czechoslovakia doing? So 4%, 35%, so yeah, both getting there. And yeah, got 16 leadership that we're waiting on, and yeah, a little bit of production that's still ongoing. Yeah, so eventually we're going to want to build up the heavy IC centers. So like Dusseldorf, Dortmund, Saarbrücken. Okay, so the nationalists. So we're going to give a nationalist boost big, as it puts it. And steel armor casting. Yeah, we'll let that run. And yeah, I would like to get the coal liquidation soon enough. And we are now losing a little bit of money, but Ireland wants to trade with us for a bit of supply, so that will help fix it. And we'll do a trade with Hungary and Austria to get it into the green again. Okay, so Abyssinia just got taken. And they're sitting at 36 on the old neutrality, which is good. No, no, no. No, no to the metal. And we're very close to 100%. Like, touching distance. One more day. Happy days. And I think we're coming up to the end of another episode soon, to be honest. Another 5 minutes or so. And yeah, we'll trade money. Money for energy. All day. Okay, and I would like to get transport ships started soon. Yep, fine, Switzerland. Absolutely fine. Up to 30 a day, not bad. And back up to 4% on the old performance there. Okay, a little bit of free IC. Still need 21 to be doing a full queue, but well, we're getting there. And that'll free up 9. There's a load of destroyers that will get freed up as well soon. Yeah, there's a lot of things that'll be finishing up before too long. We're still producing a decent amount of rares. It's not bad. Yeah, thanks. Do these trades with Turkey. No harm in that. Don't suppose. Nope. Yes, good. Japan. Hey. 64. Italy. Come on, Italy. 36. Yeah, needs to be lower than 15. See the Soviets as the biggest threat. Fair enough. Okay, and then, yeah, the Secretariat of Public Information. That's both fine. Troop ship flotillas. And I would like to get, on the command side, the core HQ one done and a few other bits that we just could have done this year pretty quickly. And up to 15. New projects. So next time round, we'll either want to get the farm one, or we could go for the railroad, because the supply throughput and things is pretty good, pretty useful to have, along with the IC efficiency. Destroyers. Okay, officers. So we could start to influence Japan. And I think, you know what, we will do that. So, yeah, we'll lower that a little bit just to start that influence on them, because the Italians are already pretty much there. Low neutrality again. Okay. We can really speed that up. And yeah, it won't be too long before we can get the Japanese in as well. So, tank destroyer, advance. Let's get army. Yeah, that's good. Love that. Yeah, that descent is continuing just to tick down in a good way. And yeah, still a lot of green. So, we shall break the Reds. Yes. We'll lose 5%, which is great. 5,500 supplies, not so good. 30 manpower, not so good. 500 money, 500 fuel, and 4 unity. Yeah, we will take that. Nearly at 100% national unity. Not bad. Okay, and I think we will call it an episode there. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and I look forward to seeing the next episode of Hearts of Iron 3 and the Germany campaign. Thanks again, bye-bye.